If you've been injured, just call VTOL, home of the no-fee guarantee. 1-877-250-HURT.
How does Tudor's sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit compare to the other chains? Well, frankly, there's no comparison. We start with made-from-scratch biscuits topped with farm-fresh ingredients, which makes ours so good. Now, what can be better than this biscuit? How about 2 sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits? At a price so good, you'll do a double take. Now, for a limited time, get 2 for $4. Head to Tudor's Biscuit World for yours today. A deal so good, you'll actually do a double take.
WSAZ News Channel 3. First look at 4.
Ahead here on First Look at 4, a walking miracle. A young boy defies the odds and walks, something doctors originally told him he might not be able to do again.
Also on First Look at 4, all religions usually encourage giving freely, but what can members of the congregation look out for when a pitch at the pulpit turns out to be a scam?
And on a big night of high school football across the area, the tool that you want to look at is, of course, Doppler radar. Will your stadium get a shower or downpour? We're tracking the action, looking ahead to college football for the weekend and beyond when I join you on your First Look at 4.
Hi, everyone, and happy Friday. I'm Amanda Barron.
I'm Tim here. Thanks for joining us on First Look at 4. A walking miracle just days after an injury that easily could have left him paralyzed. 13-year-old Connor Hughes is home and walking.
We told you Wednesday when Connor was hurt during a middle school football game, and now he is home sweet home. News Channel 3's Chad Hedrick brought us this story, and Chad, a follow-up that so many people are glad to see.
Yeah, since our story aired Wednesday, I was still getting messages of concern from people asking how Connor's doing, and he'll tell you he's still in some pain, but is doing just fine. Tuesday night, Connor was hurt during a 7th grade football matchup between Ashland Middle School and Greenup County. After a tackle, Connor landed on his neck and for about 45 minutes lied motionless on the field while paramedics worked on him. He says doctors originally told him that he was likely paralyzed, but after what he is calling a blessing, he is up and walking just 2 days later. Connor told me he doesn't remember much about the hit, but does remember feeling scared that he may never walk again.
I was really scared. I didn't know if it was a for sure thing. And then when the nurses and doctors started looking at me, they said I may be paralyzed, and I was like, that what really made me scared.
Now Connor says he's hopeful to get back to school on Monday. He will have to leave his neck brace on for a few more weeks though, but he says his grades are really important to him, so he wants to get back. And coming up at 5:30, I asked Connor if his football career is over after this neck injury and one he had just last year.
Oh, wow. He is truly a miracle.
He really is.
All right, Chad,
All right, thanks, Chad.
Connor also wants to thank everybody, especially the complete strangers who prayed for him to recover.
Chief meteorologist Tony Cavalier in with a look at a gorgeous Friday afternoon. There's a Charleston right now. Even the clouds look nice because they're just white, puffy clouds.
Yeah.
I said it wasn't going to hit 90 yesterday, but I can tell you my 3-mile walk, I was drenched again.
Yeah.
So they not hit it officially, but it sure as heck felt it. When it gets that warm and steamy, you know a shower or downpour can be close by. So let's take you to your first forecast here this evening, because a lot of folks are planning to head out to high school football games. Louisa, of course, the Septemberfest kicking in. Hot tropical sun, upper 80s, falling to 80 by 8 o'clock. Between now and 10 o'clock, a shower or thunder shower in parts of the area. Temperatures in the 70s as the games wind down. Tomorrow we start in the upper 60s. Figure 70 for those 5K runs tomorrow morning. And the tropical sky is back, more in the way of clouds, and a shower or downpour can invade during the afternoon into the evening hours. And the high temperature, well, it really depends on where you are tomorrow. I'm posting 80. Many areas north will be in the 70s. It could be in the mid-80s off to the south. So Doppler radar is percolating, and by that I mean it's kind of like the bubbling of coffee on your stove. It's basically starting to simmer, and some showers and downpours have formed in eastern Logan, southern Boone County, heading down the New River Gorge area. In fact, over into parts of Raleigh and Fayette County, high water has been reported by these downpours, which have now slipped over into Nicholas County, Summersville Lake over toward Richwood. The southern coal fields, well, you can see showers and thunder showers are trying to form in the Big Sandy Valley, defined as the area from Prestonsburg south, even over towards Salyersville west on the Mountain Parkway. And a little blip to the northeast of Wayne and south of Hamlin Lions Field indicates a shower is trying to percolate on the Wayne and the Lincoln County line. Lurking to the west from Vanceburg to Cincinnati. Here comes some downpours towards southern Ohio. Weather headlines then. Gully washer watch, but when and where will it downpour? You want to know for your garden and for your outdoor activity. It's a tricky football forecast, guys. From Morgantown to Huntington, the weather will be diametrically opposed. Oh, by the way, a dual tropical risk. We'll be seeing the passage of Gordon's remnants by Sunday and Monday, and then there may be a hurricane strike on the eastern seaboard. We'll talk about it. That's next week. We'll talk about it when I come back on your first look.
We're going to have to go with the flow on that one.
I like
Go with the flow, yeah. Good stuff. Thanks, Tony. Hey, if you attend church regularly, you're familiar with giving tithes when the offering plate comes down the pew, but when a person comes to your church and asks for your money, how can you tell if they really need it or if it's just a scam that stinks to high heaven? Whatever
religion you practice, giving freely is always a good thing, but when it comes to investing, things can get a little blurry. Scott Cohen has the 10 commandments of investing the next time someone tries to give a pitch from the pulpit in your house of worship.
Ephraim Taylor preached the so-called prosperity gospel to victims who heard his pitch.
God wants us to be prosperous.
But the only prosperity he really cared about was his own. He traveled to mega churches across the country selling high-yield promissory notes, supposedly financing small businesses and low-income housing. But it was all a scam, fleecing the faithful in 43 states out of $16 million.
The money that I was trying to build wealth on to leave for my grandkids and everything was all gone.
Taylor's scheme was a prime example of affinity fraud. The scammer works his way into your wallet through a common bond, in this case, religion.
Having faith in a higher power is the foundation of religion. But what about having faith in your fellow worshipers?
Securities lawyer Janice Malecki says be wary of any investment advice given in a house of worship.
First of all, you have to ask yourself, why am I being solicited to invest by someone whom I have a different type of relationship with?
Make sure there's a recognized financial institution involved and the advisor is registered. And before you invest, talk to your family about it. Any investment is a leap of faith, but don't let your faith cloud your judgment.
And that's so true. And it's always good to have somebody that you can run things by. And a lot of financial advisors will actually talk to you just to help you set up a plan and talk about stuff, even if you're not going to purchase anything from them where they make the money. They're just hoping that the potential's there.
They're hoping for the potential, but they'll give you at least some advice anyway. And don't be afraid to seek us, just like with the doctor.
Second opinion.
Maybe ask for a second opinion.
Always. Well, it was a great day for a round of golf at the Bellefonte Country Club and to raise money for a good cause. The annual Rodney Clark Memorial Golf Outing brought in dozens of golfers to help raise money for scholarships for high schoolers interested in pursuing a degree in vocational studies at Ashland Community and Technical College.
Rodney's family hosts that event to keep their brother and son's memory alive and help give students an opportunity to pursue further education after graduating high school. The timing of these scholarships comes perfectly with the development of companies like Brady Industries.
You know, we need tradesmen all over. It's getting harder and harder, and with the growth of this area and all areas, you know, the trade community needs all of that.
And through sponsors and other donations, the fund has raised over $100,000. Getting lost for fun.
If you love finding your way through a corn maze, stick around. We'll show you where to find one, full of twists and turns in your amazing weekend ahead. Plus, this summer was so hot.
How hot was it?
Hot, really
Nothing?
hot.
Bueller, anybody? Find out in just a bit. As we go to the break, here's a live look at McCorkle Avenue in Charleston. This is kind of typical for a Friday right now as you look at 64s usually at this time of day in Charleston.
That's what you'd expect.
You're going to expect it, so it's just kind of normal.
Now that was a goodness gracious Great Balls of Fire sunset we saw earlier on. Okay, Ashland Paul Blazer. This is our shot of Ashland, Kentucky, sponsored by our friends at Our Lady of Bellefonte Hospital, where we saw that scramble over at the Country Club. But there's a big 30th reunion. They're tailgating over at Paul Blazer tonight before the big game with Russell. Oh, by the way, Ashland's #1 in the state. Updated forecast when I come back on your first look at 4.
Mattress Warehouse's Labor Day sale has been extended one more week. That's one more week to save $550 on select Tempur-Pedic mattresses, or get any size mattress for the twin price on select Sealy bedding. And 6 years, no interest financing, only at Mattress Warehouse.
Introducing Papa John's Italian Hero Pizza with a creamy Italian sauce plus 5 toppings and 4 cheeses. It's like an Italian hero sandwich on a pizza. Get a large for just $10. Download the app or order at papajohns.com.
Here's our new van. Beautiful on the outside, all business on the inside.
Who wants ice cream?
Do you know what doesn't make sense? I think I could be getting TV and internet from Suddenlink for less than what I'm paying for just satellite TV.
Maybe the clown is too much.
Switch to Suddenlink and get TV and internet for less. It just makes sense. Call 877-733-1324.
This is Attorney Jeff Stewart.
I am so mad about what happened at the nursing home.
Tell me what happened.
My husband broke his arm. He said nobody helped him get out of bed, and they said that's not true.
I'm so sorry. You've made the right call. Call me. I know what to do.
Mattress Warehouse's biggest Labor Day sale ever has been extended one more week. Now, get any size mattress, king, queen, or full, for the twin price, starting at just $2.99. Adjustable bases for as low as $5 a month. The Labor Day sale extended, only at Mattress Warehouse.
It's time for the one and only, the original Chili Fest.
All day Saturday, September 15th.
Live music, entertainment, games for the kids, and the world's best competition, chili.
And this year, a chance to win a Toyota RAV4 from Advantage Toyota. It all benefits the Huntington Ronald McDonald House. Don't miss the 35th Annual Chili Fest, September 15th in downtown Huntington.
Doesn't arrive for a few more weeks, but a fall favorite starts this weekend. The Corn Maze in Milton opens, and here's what it looks like. So take a look. It's right there on your screen. You can see the design this year. The Coopers who run the maze on their farm say the theme this year pays tribute to families. And if you want to take your crew to the Corn Maze in Milton, $8 gets you in. The maze at Grits Farm in Putnam County opens September 22nd. Well, even Spider-Man loves fall festivals. September Fest is going on in Louisa, Kentucky. One of the big events, the parade. It starts at 11 o'clock Saturday morning, followed by concerts all afternoon and fireworks. A lot going on in Nitro, too. Boomtown Day starts with a 5K race, followed by a parade. All afternoon, you can check out the antique cars and listen to concerts. Speaking of music, you can hear bluegrass at Greenbow Lake State Park this weekend. Old-time music artists perform at Carter Caves, and legendary blues musician Buddy Guy brings his guitar skills to the Clay Center. At 81, this Hall of Famer continues to put out records. Well, this weekend you can celebrate West Virginia's state food. Rolls on the River Sunday is happening in Charleston. This benefit for the Big Brothers Big Sister program is your chance to sample pepperoni rolls while listening to local bands. There are even activities for the kids. And from high school games to college ones, a lot of football this weekend. So enjoy.
I'm excited for this weekend.
I'm always excited for every weekend.
Browns and Steelers this weekend.
Friday's a good day because, you have now that football's coming back and everything like that. I'm actually having a couple Browns fans at the man cave.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're gonna, they live in the neighborhood and they're Browns fans. They're my friends.
They're your friends, no matter what.
For now, anyway.
Exactly,
so,
unless we beat you.
It's true,
we have
it can
a quarterback,
happen.
maybe. All right, like 22.
Any given Sunday.
Yeah, thanks so much, Susan. We appreciate that. Green is so pretty on her. Anyways, that photo of former Cosby Show actor Jeffrey Owens working at Trader Joe's recently went viral, and rapper Nicki Minaj says she wants to give him $25 grand.
She announced the gift on her radio show on Wednesday and called Owens a legend. Nicki Minaj also had some harsh words for the woman who took the picture, accusing her of, quote, trying to embarrass this hardworking man. Owens played Elvin Debeau on The Cosby Show, and from 1985 to 1982, he was on TV as Cosby's son. He said he took the Trader Joe's job after the Crosby residuals dried up, and he's been trying to get other acting jobs without much luck, but he says he likes the job. He said people at Trader Joe's treat him well. He likes what he does. It offers him flexibility. He likes his coworkers.
He's working. That's
so
a great
then
thing.
he had to quit the job due to all the attention that he got. People were coming to the store and taking pictures, and a paparazzi was there. With all the attention that came from the job, though, there is now an offer from Tyler Perry. So
good for him.
How about that? Isn't that, you know, that's terrific, that positive. So even though there was that big negative of that woman taking that picture and essentially embarrassing him or trying to embarrass him, he took the high road and said, you're not embarrassing me. I like this job. These are my friends. I like what I do, and I'm proud of it.
And he made a comment. I tweeted it, and I can't say it verbatim, but he basically said, none of us are above any job.
Right. And that's a great thing that he said.
Nobody is above that.
I think he's just, he is a real example of how to handle a negative like that and turn it around and say, you know what, you're not going to bother me.
Well, and the whole Cosby situation, too. I mean, that created problems for so many people beyond the victims because those people were counting on that.
Yeah, he was essentially bullied. That was cyberbullying to the extreme.
She did say
he wasn't going to let him do it.
She did say she would take it back if she could. She was, but still, you got to think twice before you post.
Yeah, definitely.
Always.
You know, there's always been the joke that when a woman is pregnant, she has to eat for two now.
Well, when you think about it, your heart also has to beat for two practically. What this can mean for pregnant women and heart health. That's next.
The U.S. Congress. There's 68 teachers, 15 farmers, 4 pilots, but only 1 lobbyist. That's right, Jim Renacy's been a lobbyist even while in Congress. And what's he done? He voted to make it easier for lobbyists to hold key government positions and harder to investigate conflicts of interests. And now he's running for Senate? Jim Renacy, he's always looked out for himself.
I'm Sherrod Brown, and I approve this message.
You found comfort in our approach to caring. And now, as we create a new health system, you'll find more of what you value most. We're joining together to create a higher level of care for you and our region.
I'm Chris. People ask me all the time, why buy from Central Hardware and Furniture? Hardware stores know quality. At Central Hardware, we're not hiding behind the fabric. We promise better quality furniture for less than the big furniture stores charge. Go beyond the fabric. Know what you're buying. Plus, we just received a truckload of discontinued lane recliners with savings up to $200. Central Hardware and Furniture, Ironton. Go beyond the fabric.
It's a shared, reassuring approach to caring and combined access to advanced capabilities. That's what brought us together, and it's what will move us forward as one, side by side, for you.
HD Dual Doppler Radar, brought to you by the Hands of Experience at St. Mary's Medical Center.
Hopefully you had a chance to cool off at a pool or do something fun today, but there was a lot of cooling off at the pool, and some air conditioners had to work overtime all summer long. You do not need to be a meteorologist to know this summer was certainly a hot one.
Yeah, but you do need to be a meteorologist to understand the significance of this heat. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, 2018 is the 4th hottest summer on record for the United States. Meteorologists consider summer June through August. Officials say the average temperature this summer was 73.5 above average. So the dogs weren't the only ones seeking out some cooler climes. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, when it's hot like that, and Tony was talking about it earlier, if you're out there in it, you're feeling it. And if you're out there working in it, you need to take care of yourself.
So stop right there. If the climate scientists are objective, and they keep saying year after year, it seems, we're the 4th highest, the 6th highest, and all, something's going on. Unless they're totally biased, okay? And we have to trust that most of the scientists are good people.
And it's just, it's numbers. Numbers don't lie. You know, there's no way around it. I mean, you can say what you want for how and this and that and politics involved.
That's what they do with the analytics with football games and all. These are meteorological analytics, right?
It's just numbers.
They can't all be wrong, Tim. Let me take you on to your Logan weather cam, where our weather cam sponsored by West Virginia Lottery in Logan, West Virginia, looking down, or it should say up the Guyandotte River, which would mean looking toward Oceana and toward R.C. Bailey Dam and down toward Man. And you can see the towering cumulus clouds. So something's going on in parts of the coal fields. On Doppler radar, what you just saw on camera shows off as a lot of red smears. And those red smears, when we take a cross-section, you can see the towering clouds. And the towering clouds indicate the downpours. So near Whitesville, for example, and over toward Madison, we're watching these clouds tower, and over toward Summersville Lake. So that's where the rains are, especially right now. Here this evening, 80s falling into the 70s. It's steamy heading out to a high school football game, and the scattered shower or thunder or downpour moniker has to be retained through about 9 or 10 o'clock. Things settle down, then tomorrow the atmosphere reloads. There can be a shower tomorrow morning, but especially in the warmth of afternoon, we'll see a shower or a downpour spot up in parts of the area. It'll be wetter and cooler north of Huntington, Charleston, yet south, the farther south you go, the hazier and the warmer the atmosphere. I'll post 80 with the idea that many areas north of Huntington, Charleston are in the 70s all day long, and in the far southern coal fields, you could be in the mid and upper 80s again tomorrow. Enough humidity of 53% and a little convergence of wind coming from the northeast and coming from the southwest to allow a shower or thunderstorm to spot up. Mid and upper 80s are coming from Lagley Field, Capitol High, big game with Hurricane tonight, to Paintsville, home of the Golden Eagles and the Tigers. Temperatures are in the mid-80s across much of the area. Doppler radar, again, trying to fill in with a little more activity right now compared to an hour or two ago. But east of Logan, east of Madison, those tall clouds we saw, you can see are spotting up with some showers and thunder showers in the upper end of the Kanawha Valley, defined as the area down toward Montgomery, toward the Marmet and the London Locks, and over toward Summersville Lake and Richwood. Little break, and then you can see some showers of the non-severe variety coming through the Big Sandy River Valley by way of the Daniel Boone National Forest, heading toward Prestonsburg, Paintsville, and Pikeville with a shower, if not a thunder shower later on. Little heavier activity coming out of Cincinnati toward Vanceburg. We'll move into some of the areas having football games in Scioto County here during the evening hours. Here is the swirl that was Tropical Storm Gordon, now moving into Missouri, and that tropical swirl is taking moisture right up against this front. And there are numerous flood warnings along and north of that front. So the overall pattern heading into the weekend takes the humid tropical air and slurps it in our direction. So whereas it's cool and damp up at Mountaineer Field, it's warmer and more humid to the south. But the area, the no man's land in between, that's where the downpours are likely to create some high water. So specifically St. Louis, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, in the flooding rain category, we should get 1 or 2 downpours which spot up to an inch, or if you get 2 or 3 inches. So I expect some street flooding, especially Sunday into Sunday night in our area. Tropical clouds with a steamy feel at a high school football stadium this evening. Scattered shower, thunder shower in the 80s. Overnight we fall into the upper 60s. As the showers fade, they leave behind patchy fog. Tomorrow the tropical skies back at it. That means partly to mostly cloudy. A shower, thunder shower spotting up, especially in the afternoon. It's cooler to the north, muggier to the south. Then Sunday into Monday continues to be the time when we have our best opportunity for downpours to create local high water. And about a week from now, the question is, what will hurricane flow do to the eastern seaboard, and how might it impact our weather? It's likely to spike our temperature. Whether or not the eastern mountains of West Virginia get in on heavy rain, pure speculation at this point.
So don't let your guard down with that 79 degrees.
That storm's heading right for us.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, right for us, meaning the United States, not West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. Thanks, Tony. Coming up, a new study about blood pressure spikes reveals who is most at risk.
Find out when we come back.
He's seen the world on the brink. Folks like him worked for decades at the Portsmouth Gaseous Diffusion Plant and quietly helped win the Cold War, but it cost him his health. America is now honoring this sacrifice by providing free home health care from professional case management. It's the best possible care in the best possible place, home. If you have this card, you are eligible for free home health care. Call 855-CARE-TODAY. You've earned it.
Joe Manchin always voted for Obama.
and he voted to keep the disaster known as Obamacare. Joe endorsed Hillary 100%, and Joe Manchin voted no on the tax cuts. He's voting against your tax cuts. He voted against repeal and replace. He votes against the things that we want, and he votes against the people of West Virginia. You can't do that.
Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When you've been injured in a car accident, you don't need excuses. You need help. Insurance companies have powerful lawyers working to protect unsafe drivers and minimize the money you get. It's time you hired a powerful attorney to protect you. For over 30 years, the law firm of Hill, Peterson, Carper, B. and Ditzler has helped keep residents across West Virginia safe and get their lives back. Call 1-800-822-5667. The call is free, and so is the consultation. 1-800-822-5667.
A gentle touch. A kind word. A familiar face. You found comfort in our approach to caring. And now, as we create a new health system, you'll find more of what you value most. More compassion, more academic resources, and more specialized capability. We're joining together to create a higher level of care for you and our region.
Well, today in Health Matters, a new study shows that African Americans are more likely to experience dangerous spikes in blood pressure called hypertensive crisis. And this happens when blood pressure quickly soars to life-threatening levels.
A new study shows black adults have 5 times the risk of experiencing this complication than the national average. Older adults with anemia, chronic kidney disease, or a history of stroke were also more likely to have a hypertensive crisis. Experts say it is extremely important to keep high blood pressure under control with medication and lifestyle change.
Listen to your body, that's for sure. Also in Health Matters today, our hearts work hard, but when a woman is pregnant, her heart is working overtime. According to the Mayo Clinic, there's been an increase in heart attacks among women who are pregnant.
Wow. If a woman already has a certain risk factor that makes her vulnerable to heart attack, getting pregnant can add to the risk. Another thing is pregnant women have trouble recognizing some heart attack symptoms, since a lot of the symptoms of a heart attack are very similar to being pregnant.
Yeah, Haley Hernandez tells us more about how a baby bump can affect how the heart pumps.
Pregnancy is a workout. All the feelings of nausea, heavy breathing, and overall discomfort isn't just from weight gain. Inside, your organs are on a constant treadmill.
Heart works harder in pregnancy, and any kind of heart disease can be exacerbated by that.
Dr. Diana Ricussin, a maternal medicine doctor with UT Health, says due to more women coming into pregnancy with high blood pressure, obesity, and older age, there is a higher risk of heart attacks happening in those cases.
People walk into pregnancy with these risk factors.
If those risk factors lead to a heart attack, then things get tricky.
In women, heart attack symptoms are non-specific. They can have nausea, they can have vomiting, they can have dizziness, they can have abdominal pain, they can have weakness.
Since those symptoms go hand in hand with pregnancy, Ricussin says it's critical for women to be as specific and honest as possible about their medical history, where they feel pain, and how bad it is. The key to identify heart problems or even survive a heart attack is catching it early, meaning prenatal visits are necessary. If yours feels pointless, she says it's an indication you're healthy.
So if we find nothing wrong, that's a quick, boring visit, that's great.
That's kind.
So Dr. Ricussin suggests that women get a consultation before they get pregnant. Well, if you're planning to be sure that they are in optimal health.
Good advice.
Yeah. Coming up, an unwanted carry-on item, the flu. Ooh, some recent cases of flu symptoms and flyers coming back from overseas.
As health officials sounding the alarm tonight. Also, no protests were visible during last night's NFL game, but what was visible, that recent ad from Nike.
Yeah, and not everyone's happy about it either.
Go Goldie, Auto, go Goldie.
It's Jeep Adventure Days at Goldie Auto in Huntington, the Tri-State's best choice for new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles.
Go Goldie, Auto, go Goldie.
At Pikeville Medical Center, a new day begins, where together we will place an emphasis on the importance of listening, compassion, and faith. We are building a regional health system to provide the most advanced diagnostic technology and specialized treatment to fight cancer, tackle heart disease, react to traumatic injuries, and care for all we serve. Pikeville Medical Center. Together, we rise.
This is Attorney Jeff Stewart.
Thanks for taking my call. I am so mad about what happened at the nursing home.
Tell me what happened.
My husband broke his arm. He said nobody helped him get out of bed, and they said that's not true. I don't believe them.
I'm so sorry. You've made the right call. I know what to do.
I'm so glad I called Stuart Bell. They found out the truth.
If you suspect nursing home abuse and neglect, call me. I know what to do.
Call 1-800-343-3838.
Your glasses are ready.
How'd you do that so fast?
You see, we pick and trace, polish, coat and shape, make, clean, and finish your glasses right here in the store.
Why do other places take 2 weeks?
Because they pick and trace, polish, coat and shape, make, clean, and ship your glasses from a lab far, far away.
Over 90% of our glasses are ready the same day, and 2 pairs start at $38.71.
Your glasses are ready? How did you? You see, we
have a lens lab in every store.
I'm Art Express.
Right glasses.
Right price.
Right now.
Go Goldie, Auto, go Goldie.
It's Jeep Adventure Days at Goldie Auto in Huntington, the Tri-State's best choice for new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles.
Go Goldie, Auto, go Goldie.
Get the alerts you choose with customized news alerts on the WSAZ News app.
WSAZ News Channel 3. First look at 4.
An unwanted passenger has been on board on some flights recently, coming back to the U.S. from overseas, and we're talking about influenza. So now health officials are on red alert.
2 more groups of travelers arrived here with flu-like symptoms, raising fears that if you've been overseas recently, you may have brought it back with you in the plane. It's a bug, not the kind you want to bring in your carry-on. Ron Mott tells us more.
This morning, health officials and air travelers on heightened alert. For a second day, passengers reporting flu-like symptoms showing up in the U.S. from overseas. And in Texas, Southwest Airlines says passengers on 4 of its flights may have been exposed to the highly contagious measles virus.
Anytime you have people in a closed environment like that, where there's enormous amounts of people, these viruses can spread very easily.
The latest scare, a dozen travelers saying they felt sick after landing in Philadelphia on 2 American airline flights Thursday. One plane coming from Paris, the other from Munich. But officials say all the sick passengers had been in Saudi Arabia, attending the Muslim pilgrimage known as the Hajj in Mecca. Both planes were detained, doctors evaluating everyone on board. The 12 passengers with symptoms were quarantined briefly, health officials letting them go after determining it was safe.
There's a medical emergency.
On Wednesday, an Emirates Airlines flight from Dubai that stopped in Mecca touched down at New York's JFK, reporting 19 passengers and crew felt ill.
It felt like a flying infirmary.
NBC5 investigates in Dallas, reporting a passenger was diagnosed with measles after taking 4 Southwest flights last month. The Dallas County Health Department warning passengers to be on alert for symptoms.
So the best advice to keep yourself healthy while traveling is to make sure you have all your vaccinations, including the flu vaccine, before you get on that flight.
And health officials recommend anyone over the age of 6 months get that flu vaccine. Yeah. It's only a matter of time before those symptoms, will start popping up. We're going to be getting that email.
About the flu. Yeah, the flu, ready for the shot at any point now.
Yes.
Fall is practically here.
Yeah. Hey, August was a really good month for jobs. The U.S. saw another strong month of hiring, slightly beating analysts' expectations. According to the latest jobs report, the economy added 201,000 jobs in August.
And the unemployment rate stayed near historic lows at 3.9%. The economy has really been on a roll lately. Employers report trouble finding enough workers, in fact, to fill their open positions. According to Friday's report, average hourly earnings grew 2.9% compared with a year ago. It is the strongest rate in 9 years. We were just over at Sheetz, for example, and they have a big sign on the door, hiring now $15 to $26 an hour starting.
That's a good
for those positions.
Salary.
And so a lot of companies are like that. They're starting to up the ante a little bit because they need workers.
Yeah.
Good news for those who work In hospitality, the hotel industry is introducing increased safety measures to better protect employees.
Some hotel workers now have panic buttons to discreetly summon help if they're being harassed or feel they're in danger. Marriott International is rolling out personal alert devices for housekeepers and other hotel workers across the U.S. and Canada. It's a GPS-enabled safety device, and it can alert security personnel to an exact location with the single press of a button if help is quickly needed. Experts say it's particularly effective in hotel settings that can be more than 1 million square feet in some cases. Apple is reportedly planning to create an online tool for police to formally request data about its users. According to a company letter seen by Reuters, Apple will also provide training for police about what data can and cannot be used.
The company does provide some user data to law enforcement if they make a valid legal request. Apple, which has come under fire for its encryption, says it responded to 14,000 law enforcement requests last year. The training and portal will reportedly be available globally. Last night was the big return of professional football, and while fans were looking at the stats and thinking of the season ahead, there was still one thing weighing on a lot of people's minds anyway: what would happen during the national anthem.
And last night there were no visible protests during the anthem, but off the field, a commercial break, Nike made some major waves as they put Colin Kaepernick as the face of that new ad campaign. Craig Melvin tells us how shoes are being burned as Nike keeps the flame of protest burning bright.
New season, no visible protests. As Boyz II Men belted out the national anthem in the season opener between the Philadelphia Eagles and Atlanta Falcons, no sign of kneeling. This as former quarterback Colin Kaepernick, the first to take a knee protesting police brutality and racial inequality, is front and center once again with this new Nike ad which premiered during the game.
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
Donald Trump Jr. wasting no time spoofing the new ad campaign on Twitter, replacing Kaepernick with his father and writing, "There, fixed it for you." The controversial player turned pitchman was spotted at Nike headquarters during the game for the ad's highly anticipated debut.
Thank you for believing in me as well as Nike and being able to do this.
Some fans praising Nike and Kaepernick, who hasn't played since the 2016 season.
He's being blackballed by the NFL, and it's a shame. And the President of the United States is turning this into something that it doesn't even have to be.
Others, not so much.
Why do it disrespecting people when he could have done it in a better fashion?
Now, faced with threatened boycotts and some customers burning their shoes, Nike now doubling down, raising Kaepernick's face sky high in New York and San Francisco, eliciting strong reactions on the field and off.
Doesn't look like we're going to stop talking about player protests anytime soon. In fact, President Trump tweeted about Nike this morning.
Yeah, he said in a short tweet simply saying, quote, "What was Nike thinking?"
Lots of fallout from this one. I think
That's all he put there.
Creating a big conversation.
Well, it is, yeah, and it's creating a conversation that began when this protest first began, when it came to light, and it's been like that ever since. So you're right, I don't think it's going to go away.
No. What a beautiful day there in Ashland, Kentucky. Lots of people home right now, Tony, figuring out what they're going to wear to the big football game tonight. Don't think you need to take a sweater, right?
No, you need a T-shirt at the football game tonight.
And a water bottle.
And the frustration is I can't reach out to every individual stadium and say, here's what the weather's going. If I could, I'd be working on Wall Street making millions. So now we're going to switch over to our Point Pleasant, West Virginia weathercast, sponsored by West Virginia Lottery. And up the river near the Armory, we've got the Big Blacks at home with a big game. Across the river, Gallia Academy, the Blue Devils are over toward Jackson. Everybody is experiencing the beautiful tropical sky, but not everybody getting a shower or a downpour. The tropical sky is hot, as in upper 80s, falling to 80 as the sun sets at your favorite stadium. Scattered shower or downpour around will fade as we get to 10 and 11 o'clock. First thing tomorrow morning, the 5K runs, including that big one in Boomtown and Nitro, 70 muggy degrees, 80 by the lunch hour. We'll hold on near 80 during the day. The tropical sky, maybe a shower or thunder showers we get into the early afternoon, but especially at night and into Sunday, that would be the best opportunity. So Doppler radar filling in with some showers and thunder showers at this early evening hour. Down the New River Gorge, for example, toward Fayette Station and toward Beckley, some downpours are on the move right now. Nice little sister cell trying to form over in Lincoln County. The Lincoln County Panthers You can see down in southeast Kentucky, a couple showers and thunder showers are forming between Salyersville and Prestonsburg, heading toward Painesville. Johnson Central with a big game this evening. Showers in Lewis County, Kentucky and Adams County, Ohio are about to spill into southern Scioto County, yet much of Ohio, at least right now, is rain-free. So we're tracking the scattered showers. At some point this weekend, you're going to have a gully washer in your neighborhood, but when and where will it occur for you? It's a tricky college football forecast, guys, and I've got a map that shows what the weather is in Morgantown, up at the Horseshoe, and over at the Joan, all when I come back on in the second half of First Look at 4.
Yep. All right. Hey, thanks, Tony. Up next, in the wake of his death, Hollywood is remembering the life and legacy of legendary actor Burt Reynolds.
And we talked about how the sun was almost unbearable earlier, but let's talk about a new sun, Bear, that made its debut. That's later. What a cutie.
Sweetbriar Assisted Living is designed to accommodate the individual lifestyles and needs of our residents and their families. We're locally owned, with a well-trained, certified staff ready to make your loved one feel at home in their new surroundings. Whether it's residential or respite care, we provide pet-friendly, deluxe private and semi-private rooms with full baths. Located just minutes from Charleston, our residents live in a secure, home-like environment. Call Sweetbriar Assisted Living today to schedule your tour.
Mattress Warehouse's Labor Day sale has been extended one more week. That's one more week to save $550 on select Tempur-Pedic mattresses, or get any size mattress for the twin price on select Sealy bedding. And 6 years, no interest financing, only at Mattress Warehouse.
D.C. liberals oppose your gun rights.
They want to take away your Second Amendment. You see what's going on. I don't think you want your Second Amendment played with.
And Joe Manchin is part of the problem.
Joe Manchin always voted for Obama, and I like Joe, but Joe doesn't vote for us.
The National Rifle Association gives Joe Manchin a grade of D.
We must elect Patrick Morrissey. We need him.
The NRA Institute for Legislative Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Science tells us that a body in motion stays in motion. But sometimes yours might need a little help. At SOMC Orthopedic Associates, we offer the latest in arthroscopic surgical techniques for the shoulder, as well as anterior hip replacement surgery, a minimally invasive procedure that means quicker recoveries. Keep your body in motion. SOMC Orthopedic Associates. Very good things are happening here.
During the Mattress Warehouse Labor Day sales event, purchase a Tempur-Pedic Luxe, Elite, or Breeze mattress and enjoy up to $550 off, or get a free adjustable base upgrade. And Queen mattresses start as low as $23 a month with 72-month no-interest financing. Mattress Warehouse, West Virginia's #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer.
WSAZ News Channel 3. First Look at 4.
Well, much to our delight, he went eastbound and down. He went the longest yard, and he certainly made the ladies swoon. And now Hollywood is remembering Burt Reynolds and his iconic swagger. He passed away yesterday. He was 82.
Yeah, that's hard to believe right there. It's certainly one of Hollywood's biggest personalities. Natalie Morales takes a look at the legacy and laughter and the passion left behind by the good old boy who wrote in his memoir, "Nobody had more fun than I did."
A legendary leading man who charmed fans on screens big and small. A sex symbol with a certain swagger.
Don't tell me your name. Let me guess.
Now gone. Burt Reynolds passing away Thursday at the age of 82 after going into cardiac arrest at his home in Florida.
He's experiencing difficulty breathing and
the 911 calls released overnight.
Breathing, but he's not answering questions.
Reynolds' niece calling his death totally unexpected, despite Reynolds having health issues. Flowers now decorating his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The lights dimming at the famed TCL Chinese Theater, where Reynolds' hand and footprints are on display. Former co-stars celebrating the charismatic actor.
Sorry, I don't want to get married.
Terrific. That makes 2 of us.
Sally Field, a former flame who Reynolds later called the love of his life, saying, "My years with Burt never leave my mind. He will be in my history and my heart for as long as I live. Rest, buddy." Dolly Parton writing, "We will always remember his funny laugh, that mischievous sparkle in his eyes, and his quirky sense of humor. I will always love you." Julie Andrews saying Burt's talent was one of a kind. Mark Wahlberg calling Reynolds a legend and a friend. Born in Michigan, later raised in Florida, Burt Reynolds first got a taste of fame on the college football field, an injury later leading him to acting.
Where's the law, Drew?
His breakthrough role came in 1972's Deliverance.
Sometimes you have to lose yourself before you can find anything.
Reynolds going on to star in The Longest Yard and Smokey and the Bandit, holding the title of world's highest-grossing movie star from 1978 to 82.
To me, the best acting, the very best acting, is the kind of acting that looks easy.
Jack Horner, filmmaker.
Boogie Nights introducing him to a new generation in 1997, earning him a Golden Globe and Oscar nomination. A heartthrob who not only won over fans, but a list of high-profile women, leading a life both on screen and off that cemented his place as a Hollywood legend.
Just a cool guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes right, you know, it's like you look up cool, and there's Burt Reynolds right there. Reynolds' ex-wife, by the way, Lonnie Anderson, and their son Quentin, say they have been touched by all the tremendous outpouring of love and support.
In his memoir, he also wrote that he wanted to go down swinging. And he actually has 2 new movies coming out this year. He was also cast in another movie in Quentin Tarantino's upcoming film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he was reportedly supposed to start shooting that in just a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as the weekend draws closer, so does the next weekend of college football.
Yeah, we're talking all about that.
Right about the time I was passing a turnoff, he turned right in front of me.
He worked it out for Brandon, so his medical bills were paid, and he had money in his pocket.
They got every penny they could possibly get for me.
We're Farmer Klein and Campbell.
That's the biggest check I've ever got.
A gentle touch, a kind word, a familiar face. You found comfort in our approach to caring. And now, as we create a new health system, you'll find more of what you value most. More compassion, more academic resources, and more specialized capability. We're joining together to create a higher level of care for you and our region.
At Pure Country Automotive in Ashland and Grayson, we won't stick you with any unnecessary fees. If you buy from other dealers, you're going to pay dock fees, dealer fees, and even prep fees. Check out some of these real fees that other dealers charge. Now see what you'll pay at Pure Country Automotive. Dock fee, $0. Dealer fee, $0. Prep fee, $0. Bump sticker? What is a bump sticker anyway? We don't know. That's why it's $0. Come see Pure Country Automotive in Ashland and Grayson and take advantage of our no dealer fee guarantee today.
Village Heirlooms is your best source for high-quality custom-made furniture. Our furniture is skillfully handcrafted from solid woods by world-class Amish furniture builders. Visit our large showroom on Tays Valley Road to see a great sampling of bedroom, dining room, and living room furniture.
Injured in a wreck with a big rig? We're recognized among West Virginia's top 10 trucking lawyers.
And we don't get paid unless you do. It's a good reason to call Farmer Klein and Campbell.
We know truck wrecks.
Call 346-5990.
Tickets to all Martial Artist Series events will go on sale Monday, September 10th at noon, including Steve Martin and Martin Short, Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys, and more. For tickets, call 304-696-6656 or go to Ticketmaster.com.
Join us mornings on WSAZ.
Here comes the sun bear. The first sun bear cub ever to be born in the UK stepped out of her den with her mom for the first time this week. Welcome. The little female cub was born 12 weeks ago at the Chester Zoo.
And she hasn't even been named yet. Her mom doesn't really care because, you know, they're bears. But her mother's name is Millie and her dad's name is Tony. Maybe their handlers are fans of News Channel 3's Tony Cavalier, right? Well, the bear spells his name, though, with an I, not a Y at the end, but you never know. They still might be Tony Cavalier fans. Her parents were both rescued from poachers in Cambodia when they were cubs. If you're thinking, man, those bears are small bears, you're right. Sun bears are actually the smallest species of bear. They are native to Southeast Asia, and they are listed as vulnerable to extinction in the wild by the International Union for Conservation of Nature.
Wow.
You guys went to college.
I'm
So
sorry.
did you.
I'm sorry.
You went to college too. But hey, check out this footage of an avalanche right at the volcano de Fuego, if that name sounds familiar. You might remember this is the same volcano that erupted, Tim, back in June of this year.
If you remember that eruption, it was massive, extremely powerful, and as you can imagine, areas all around the volcano have become a bit unstable. A report is blaming that for this avalanche. That avalanche is huge, but good thing is no injuries reported. Look at it go, though.
Yeah, that's very scary. All right, last night, go ahead.
What I was trying to say was, now you guys went to college to study broadcasting.
Right.
And there was the awe factor in that story with the Bears. Is that what they teach you to
say awe? Yeah, we learned that. We learned that in college.
People's emotions, right?
You know what? You were talking last night, though. Speaking of college, it's funny you would say that. If you're home doing homework right now and trying to get out to the football game, get your homework done before. This is just Tony's scribble sheet here, and I want you to see it's a lot of science, a lot of math, and it's important stuff. And you were saying last night to kids who maybe enjoy NASCAR or Formula One, it's a lot of science, it's a lot of math, and it's just good. So anyways, just a little of the inner workings.
If you're good at math, you can pretty much do anything in the science
you
field,
really can.
Right? All right, well, let's take a look at the math of our weather cam. This is Portsmouth, Ohio, and the numbers that Amanda was showing, well, I'm looking at the atmosphere and translating. You can see the clouds in the heavens. A lot of big games in the Scioto County area this evening. Portsmouth West hosting a big game. You're closest to the showers over on the west end of the county. That's what it looks like on weather camera. Here's what it looks like on Doppler radar. Can you see the red smears to the south and west of Portsmouth? And now if we take a little cross section, the heavier clouds are still to the south and west, but they're moving in a northeast fashion. So what happens is these towering clouds are moving toward Adams and toward Scioto County. So at least before the game, a shower or a downpour can be expected at many of those games in Scioto County this evening. The mighty Medford Falcons are at home, Portsmouth, Sciotaville, and of course West, as I mentioned. So 80s before any shower. If you get a downpour, you'd fall into the 70s. Activity will wind down once the sun goes down. And tomorrow, 5K runs in the morning, including Boomtown 70. 80 by the lunch hour. Will hold out near 80 in the afternoon under mostly cloudy skies. And when will a shower or thunder shower occur at your neighborhood or at your favorite college football venue? Wetter and cooler north toward Morgantown, yet from Huntington south, maybe, just maybe, we can eke in just a passing shower before the end of the game. But that's a real close call at the Joan tomorrow. Mid and upper 80s with high humidity, sponsoring a shower or thunder shower threat this evening. Charleston south, watch how the activity is percolating. Literally minute by minute, the atmosphere is starting to generate showers, getting closer and closer to Charleston, coming, for example, up the London and the Marmette locks toward downtown Charleston. So it seems like it's imminent. A shower makes it toward Laidley Field, where Capitol High has a game this evening with Hurricane High. There's also a lot of big games going on down in the coal fields. Showers are moving slowly toward Pikeville, Prestonsburg, and toward Paintsville right now. Nice little gap in northern Kentucky, but you can see the shower now on the Cabell Wayne and the Lincoln and Cabell line that weren't there just an hour ago. Showers and thunder showers coming out of northern Kentucky, pointed toward Adams County, Ohio, and toward Lewis County, Kentucky. Eventually will spill into the Scioto Valley, then likely cross southern Ohio. Our computer modelers are suggesting southern Ohio is the most likely to get a shower or thunder shower here during the evening hours. But as we widen out, we've got this big whirlpool known as Gordon's Remnants, tugging humid tropical air our way, and a pattern like that figures to have us wet at some point over the weekend. It should be wet at the Horseshoe most of the game, 3:30 kickoff with Rutgers in the 60s. It'll be cool and damp up at Mountaineer Field. The heaviest rains may hold off till after the game, but just count on a damp evening in the 60s. So it'll be poncho weather for sure. At the Joan, we'll start out near 80 for those afternoon tailgaters. Might there be a shower or thunder shower? That's the toughest call right now. There's a chance the rain holds to the north, but right now I'd be preparing for at least some rain at all college football venues, just in case. Tropical clouds this evening with a steamy feel at your favorite high school football stadium. 80s with a shower or thunder shower around. The showers fade and fog forms overnight in the 60s. Tomorrow we're back at it. A tropical sky means partly to mostly cloudy. A shower or thunder shower scattered. Cooler and wetter north. Muggier to the south where it might not rain much at all. Sunday, we all get in on some downpours. I expect 1 to maybe 3 inches in the heavier downpours Sunday into early Monday, and that's the most likely time period for us to see some local high water across the region.
All right.
All right.
We'll be watching out for it.
Thanks, Tony. Up next, substitute fathers to the rescue. Their mission is to make the start of the school day just a wee bit better than usual.
Starting the school day off with a high five or maybe even a hug.
This This is Attorney Jeff Stewart.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I'm so mad at what happened at the nursing home.
Tell me what happened.
Well, my grandmother went missing, and now she's in the hospital with a brain bleed, and nobody can tell me what happened. I mean...
That's unacceptable. This whole thing never should have happened. I know what to do.
I'm so glad I called Stuart Bell. They found out the truth.
If you suspect nursing home abuse and neglect, call me. I know what to do.
Call 1-800-343-3838.
It's Golden Corral's Wings and Rib Fest every night. Hurry in for fall apart baby back ribs and wings just like you like them. Get them sweet, smoked, spicy, boneless wings too. Hit me, baby. The wings and ribs are endless, but this deal's gonna fly by. So hurry in for Golden Corral's Wings and Rib Fest. We have over 150 choices, but the only one that matters is yours. Golden Corral, your choice rules.
800,000 West Virginians have pre-existing conditions such as cancer, diabetes, and asthma. Why did Patrick Morrissey file a lawsuit to take away their health care? Because he was a Washington lobbyist who's taking care of the insurance companies, taking care of him. Patrick Morrissey puts his corporate donors ahead of our families. We just can't trust him. Morrissey should drop his lawsuit.
I'm Joe Manchin, and I approve this message because for me, it's all about West Virginia.
Anything else for you guys?
Dude, you should get a lotto ticket. You could win.
And I got a better chance of getting a hole-in-one.
Breaking news coverage that's always there. WSAZ News Channel 3.
Oklahoma, where the alligator comes sweeping through the plain. Well,
you sang it good.
Yeah, well, an alligator was on the loose in the middle of Oklahoma, of all places. One couple found it and thought, they probably thought it was just like stuffed or something, or just a giant lizard.
Yeah, Rick Ames found the 3-foot American gator on the side of the road Thursday, and he was concerned it might get hurt.
Oh.
He wrapped up its snout, brought it home, and put it in a dog crate. His wife, Deborah, thinks it's cute. After calling the sheriff's office, police and animal rescuers for help, a game warden came to their home and confirmed the lizard is in fact an alligator.
Thought, oh, that's an awfully big lizard. And it ended up being that little alligator.
You know that somebody had it as a pet, just like with that snake the other day, and then, you know, you're in Oklahoma, oh, just put it on the side of the road and somebody will pick it up. And that's what happened, you know, but it's just take care of your pets.
We don't do that. All right, school's back in session, and now it's time for the kids to get used to that everyday grind, waking up and heading to school.
Well, some children don't have a fatherly influence in their homes. Galen Culver has a story about a group of dads who want to make going back to school a bit more of a celebration for these kids at this one school. Whether it's an encouraging pep talk or even just a high five, they say, dads to the rescue.
School might start at 8 on weekday mornings, but kids at Cornelson Elementary School start rolling in as early as 7:30. Some a little bleary-eyed, a few still shaking off summer cobwebs.
What's up, Smoke? All the way, all the way. All right.
But every single one the recipient of a greeting from these guys in the neon yellow shirts.
Good job.
Hi. Ladies. 3 years ago, OHP Trooper Gene Goodson got together with then-Principal Mark Van Meter to see how they might be able to bring a few more positive male role models to the school day.
A lot of kids that don't have a male role model at home, and we wanted to fix that.
All right, can I have 5? All right, good morning.
Associate District Judge Tim Hayworth drew up the nonprofit papers.
Yeah, elbow.
So a small group of dads grew quickly as word spread.
Greet the children here and give them a high five and let them know someone's here caring about them.
FAITH stands for Fathers Are in the House, and it's true. Every morning, there are at least 2, usually 4 or 5, FAITH members on hand to greet kids, help out with reading, or just help out with whatever teachers might need.
They're really nice, and I like how they give us high fives, and they're out there every single day.
They bought us school supplies. They're really nice.
For the past couple of years, FAITH fundraisers have ensured that every kid, pre-K through 8th grade, gets a backpack filled with supplies. The kids get their support. These men say they get a lot more back in return.
Oh, good morning.
Okay.
I mean, there is no better way to start your day then right here with a high five or hug from some kid, it's amazing.
Starting the school day off with the kind of nourishment you can't find on a cereal box or in a piece of bacon. It's the kind that can last a lifetime.
There are 40 faith fathers in that town, in that organization in that town. Every member of the faith team has to fill out an application, and then they have to agree to the background check that needs to be performed. In addition to the elementary school, the team's also started to help out at the local public library.
That's great. And you know what? It's something, if you have extra time and can help out, even we don't have an organization like that per se, but maybe Big Brothers Big Sisters or something like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think Big Brothers Big Sisters is this huge commitment. It's 4 hours a month is all that they ask.
Yeah.
Anything else is above and beyond, and certainly appreciated.
And here's the thing, they know it. Anybody who's been through it knows. They may say just 4 hours a month, but you start doing it and you get involved and you're going to want to help out more.
Help out more for Big Brothers Sunday at the Levee. Pepperoni rolls.
See, there
rolls
you go.
on the river.
Delicious.
No.
I have no idea.
No.
The only thing I know about a credit union, if I